Hello. I am going to invite you to go ahead and close your eyes or have a soft gaze while I do the invocation for this episode. We ask for guidance from the Universal Spirit Creator, our angels and our spirit guides, to move from soul to subconscious, from subconscious to conscious being to higher self. We request protected conduit to the realm of the highest good, aligned only to light, so that we may raise our frequencies for the good of all beings, and so that we may step back to see and to be. We do request 100% connection to Source and 100% gold cord connection at heart chakra. With thanks, humility, grace, and love, so mo it be. Welcome to the Infinite Dance. This is your Akashic messages for August 2026. If you're new here, welcome. I always start out each episode doing a invocation to get ourselves in alignment with all of the guides and energies that have our highest good in mind. So that's why we do the invocation. I invite you to do that yourself. You can use what I just did, use it as a template, add all the things that you might want to that make sense for you. So that's what the invocation is. And a lot of times I just go straight into it to get the episode going. So we have quite a few things to discuss for August. Oh my goodness, August. We've got Lughnasadh, so there's a pagan holiday. Today is August 1st, so you can either celebrate today or tomorrow on the 2nd. That's the first harvest. We're also going to talk about attention as currency, boundaries, and how everything your gut has ever told you before is being highlighted even more intensely right now. And we're also going to discuss the full moon that just happened in Aquarius. So I know we're in August. It had a Jupiter cazimi attached to it, which was really intense. I felt that very intensely. And then Lionsgate is happening on 8/8. And then also a total solar eclipse is happening on the 12th. So we'll tap into some of those energies. I did some downloads around all of those too. So I'll share those with you. And things happening in threes. I have noticed a lot of things happening in sets of threes. And I started hearing that, gosh, I want to say the end of last month. I feel like with CERN shutting down, there's been a lot of clarity with oh, wait a minute, what's going to happen over here? Or just having lots of a lot more like, watch out, there's going to be a third, like I heard that a couple times with a couple things that have gone on in my own life. So we're going to talk about things happening in threes and why that's significant for us moving forward, especially in this month of August of 2026. So before we do that, we're going to take one more stillness and we're going to have a moment of silence for all those that are oppressed. So we're going to send any extra energy, hope, love to those in Sudan, Congo, Palestine, Yemen, Iraq, Venezuela, Cuba, anybody in the United States or that is being detained unlawfully, anyone that's struggling. Let's send them some extra love and hold them in that. Thank you so much for taking that moment with me. I really appreciate you. So, yeah, I'm calling this ever evolving August. Give yourself time to stop, you know, and be still. I've had a couple of those, like when I'm out doing errands or whatever, where I, there's somebody really slow in front of me, or it's a slow transaction. And I'm like, okay, don't get upset. You're being given an opportunity to slow down, right? And be still for a moment, because everything's been so crazy and so fast moving. I know time has seemed to slow down a little bit, um, but things are also happening fast, right? If something's not in alignment, it pretty much ends. I know a lot of people have been experiencing that, myself included. Um, with boundaries as a theme, and the energy's happening fast with, if something's not in alignment, it's going to end right away, right? Um, this is good because we need to feel safe, right? And pick a thing that we're doing. We need to have a sense of safety. And if you don't have that, then it makes every aspect of that interaction extremely uncomfortable, and probably is not going to go to maybe how you would want it to go, or be the desired outcome, or even like primarily, feeling supported in a task, say something you need to do or have to do, like go to the dentist. And I've got an example for you with that one. But it feels like with setting boundaries, it's all around primary things. It's not like, no, I don't want to go to that concert, or I don't want to go to that movie. I want to go see this other movie. It's happening more around, am I feeling safe? Am I feeling supported in this moment, to do what I need to do? And that's where we're going to feel these boundaries and pushback, right? Because if you're around people that are still in the matrix mentality of the lower frequencies, then that's the reality that you're going to experience, or you're going to experience them and the interactions. And so it's almost better if they fall away right away, so that you can find that support and safety that we all deserve and need. So I got dumped by my dentist. I had a periodontal cleaning scheduled for last Thursday, and I was not looking forward to it for some reason. Just really didn't want to go. And despite my mouth health feeling a lot better with a lot of the stuff that I've been doing, so I was kind of looking forward to having their input too. There was also a part of me that was really not wanting to be there. And it's not far from my house, so I can walk. And as I was walking over there, I was telling myself, you got this, they're going to help give you a deep cleaning and you need this. And, psyching myself up to be there. And so I get into the office, and oh, by the way, let me back up. I mentally was prepared too for how much everything was going to cost. Um, I have insurance and I know how much everything costs. And there's a couple of added things that I don't have to do every time. And there was one in particular I thought, I think I would like to try that this time. And so I knew how much it cost and I had some credit. So I had a roundabout idea. So when I get into the office, I'm handed a bill that's about twice what I was planning on because they had a couple other services that they're incorporating suddenly. Right. And I'm not told about. And one happened to be a laser and like cancer screening for your mouth or something. And like, especially with the laser, I really would like to research that and what it is you're doing and using and other people have maybe had it and how they feel about it. Right. So it was a little bit um off-putting, you know, to be presented with this, and it gave me anxiety. I had anxiety at that moment, and you know, more than I kind of already had. And so when they brought me back, the assistant started to, you know, talk and do things, and then she's like started to get the big x-ray bib. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know we were doing x-rays. She's like, yeah. And I said, well, I didn't plan on that. And I really just need to stick to the cleaning today because that's what I planned on. You know, I planned on the cleaning, I planned on the irrigation. I just need to stick to this. And so she's like, okay. And I had to sign a paper of refusal, you know, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then when the hygienist came in and I said, yeah, you know, I'm having a bit of anxiety and so I really just need to stick to the cleaning today. I don't have space for anything else. And she started to want to count the pockets. They count the pockets of your gums recession, basically. And they do it out loud because one's in your mouth and then the other one's tracking it. And I said, I really don't want to hear the counting today either. It adds to my anxiety. And she huffed and got upset and, oh, I can't do my job then. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You know, and like, this is my body and I know what I need right now. I'm not saying I don't ever want to do that. Just today I can't. And so she's like, well, we're going to have to release you. And I've been with them for 4.5 years, I think. And the main hygienist that had been there from the beginning did move 2 months ago, which is such a bummer because she was extremely compassionate. But here I got this pushback, you know, for saying, I'm not feeling well right now to receive this. Like, I'm telling you what I need and where I'm at. Like, can you meet me here? And there's, you know, no. And so I'm sharing that with you, that personal experience. So you know that it's going to come in these primary ways, right? Of, no, I'm not feeling safe right now. Or I'm not feeling like I can do that. You know, I need, you know, I had work to do later after the appointment. So I didn't want any extra stress. I didn't want any extra procedures done to my mouth. You know, I wanted the thing I knew I was going in for. And, you know, it's really off-putting that they would think that that's okay behavior. You know, I work with clients all the time. And if I'm not working for you, I'm going to find a colleague that they might be able to use their modality to help you better, right? Or maybe you just need some energy work and we're not going to talk today, right? We're not going to do the akashic protocols. We're going to do sound healing because that's where you need to be. Yeah. So it's really hard then to go out and go, okay, I need help with this. I know I need help with deep cleaning my mouth and not getting that. But keep coming. Like, we have to stick up for ourselves. We have to advocate for ourselves. You know, it's us, it's our bodies, it's our well-being that we're trying to look after. right? In these vessels that we were given, our skin suits. And so, yeah, I felt definitely like I was upset that they didn't clean. I really kind of was. Um, so, but stick up for you. Um, that's that mentality, right, of the dentist's office. This story I'm sharing with you is part of the old mentality. I'm going to tell you what you need, and you're going to be fine with it. And it's like, no, I'm going to tell you what I need, and you're going to meet me here with your knowledge and your wisdom and your experience, right? Um, and that's something that really has to be relearned. So we start with ourselves, folks, right? We start with ourselves. Um, with the other theme I was talking about, tension as currency, I've heard a couple other people I enjoy watching. Elizabeth April's one of them, speak of this, and it really resonates. Um, I've noticed since the beginning of the year and more acutely in the last couple of months, I do not, well, what are we at? No, probably almost 3 months now. I haven't wanted to interact on social media as much as I had in the past. I still do. Um, but I remember at the beginning of the year telling some good friends, I don't know if I want to do the Facebook thing anymore. Like, I'm definitely not doing TikTok. Um, just because really crappy people own that. A lot of crappy people own a lot of the stuff we use. But they're the censoring, I couldn't, it makes no sense to be so censored. And of course, we have to be careful what we say, even on YouTube, um, which stinks. Um, but my attention, I didn't want to go to something that, I don't know, just doesn't have anything, but it has no weight for me in my life. And it's not that whoever's coming up in my feed is awful or terrible. There's actually some very pleasant um, stuff that comes up in my feed. I've got some amazing friends and colleagues and just doing some really cool stuff, beautiful posts, super heart based. And so that is so wonderful. But I just find myself wanting that slower pace. I've been on Substack more, and I love the interactions I have there. I do interact a lot with certain podcasts I watch on YouTube, and those groups have been wonderful too. Like, I just get to have these really great conversations with people and connections with strangers, and it feels supportive. And I really enjoy that. Like, I'm really enjoying that. And I'm just wanting that slower down pace of taking my time to read something or watch something that's, a little bit longer content. It's just making a lot more sense for me now. But I'm really conscious about where my attention is going at every turn. And, not getting stuck in those hard loops or those karmic loops, the poop loops, or getting stuck in something that, we need to let go of. But, obviously talking about it. It's so important to talk about it, not keep it in and get it out. So, so important. Okay. In the triads and everything kind of happening in threes lately, I started noticing and hearing that, I'm going with around June, end of June. I really feel CERN shutting down really had a lot to do with how we're all interacting with each other and the world around us. And here's another example I had this week. Let's just take this week. There was more, but Monday I had a uncomfortable thing I had to deal with my rental company, and kind of had to be like, yeah, what are you guys doing? This isn't cool. And then I had a really strange interaction with a client at work. So not in my private practice, in the place where I go to do work. And it was with another colleague. She wasn't the weird, it was the client. But it was like really upsetting and something that kind of lingered for the rest of the day. And then I had the thing on Thursday. So it was like Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? And I knew after the thing with the woman, the client, there was going to be a third. I didn't think the dentist, because I've been there a bunch and I knew I needed to go. So I wasn't counting on that. And it felt like there was another like third thing that could happen even within that, like with the weirdness that happened with the client. Thursday, was it Thursday? I had another weird thing happen, that kind of came on with a theme. Okay. So it's like a theme of, okay, it's a tough conversation. Okay. That's the theme. So it doesn't have to be the same topic, just a tougher conversation, or maybe having to do with like your foot. Okay. Oh, there might be 3 different things that happen involving your foot. Okay. So that's just what I've personally noticed in my life since the end of June. And we're having this trio of frequencies happening with the Jupiter cazimi with the full moon, Lion's Gate, and then the eclipse, right? So it's these close, very close, they're happening within days of each other, and these opportunities for that transmutation and transformation. So the 26th of July was when that full moon happened in Aquarius, which had the Jupiter cazimi, which is like the heart of the sun, right? Getting a big blast of energy. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance and luck. And so Jupiter has like an optimism and this sense of truth coming through with crystal clarity. And I got that when I read about that. I'm like, oh yeah, Jupiter and Aquarius. I have an Aquarius moon. I love Aquarius. And my experience was rough. It was like, oh my goodness. But I was dealing with matrix stuff, right? I was dealing with my rental company. I was dealing with institutions. I was dealing with a corporate 3 days a week. I work at a place where it's a corporate job. And then with the dentist, right? So mine happened to fall within that. And so we have to kind of really look at, okay, we're getting a transmutation in the things that are coming into our field at that time. Okay. And mine just happened to be those things. Outwardly. Inwardly, it's been great because I've had an abundance of support from friends. And that's been like so amazing, right? So I did get this abundance of like heart and support that is, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So we really kind of have to look at it like that. Not that, oh, I was expecting a windfall of money, you know? Okay, that wasn't the case for whatever you had to go through during that time. So the Jupiter cazimi also brings in the energy of breakthroughs, quantum shifts in mindset and reality, unexpected opportunities, and bold new visions. And that really rings true too. You know, I didn't expect to have the things play out that played out as they did. And the thing that was the hardest on me was the dentist, right? Because I do value that. And not that I don't value the other things, but it was a biggie, you know. Um, but I had these opportunities to hear other friends' stories and get referrals for another dentist that other people have said, my hand is held when I'm having anxiety by the hygienist. She stops and, you know, is there with me. So again, I got some new opportunities and new insights that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And I found some groups too to interact with around this. So that felt good. Also, just to have other people go, hey, I've tried this and I really like this, or I've tried that and I really like that. So that was really, 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 really good. So that was the first one, that full moon with the Jupiter cazimi on the 26th of July. The next one we have coming up is Lionsgate on 8/8, August 8th, right? This one is called the Abundance Portal, the portal of birth and death. I like to call it for a couple reasons. And also the healing portal. Thank you. I heard that. The birth, death, 16, 8 and 8 is 16, 6 and 1 is 7. And the 7th dimension is the dimension of birth and death. So we get a big dose of that. What needs to leave and what's coming in. And then also 8 is the healing dimension, right? So we get a chance to call on all those that help heal things for us in our lives. And this one feels like we're letting go completely, not just a small part of what no longer serves, but like the whole thing. You know, before it was like, well, like think about maybe a situation. Well, this wasn't the greatest place, you know. This wasn't the greatest um dental experience. Let's just take the store, let's stick with that, right? Um the dentist is fine, the old hygienist was great. The office staff's pretty nice. You know, but having somebody who's in your mouth the most be unkind, right? Okay, that needs to end. There's no skirting around that, right? Long term. So we're really getting a big dose of that. And it could be with a relationship, a person, a place, an experience. But we're releasing all of this and letting all of this go completely because we need to birth our highest timeline. And this Lionsgate is going to help with that. How are we stepping into all the things that make our day, you know, go, yes, this is a great day, or this part, you know, I'm going to be able to do this, right? I'm going to be able to do that other thing. And you look forward to it. It's like, oh, I get to go do that. And that's exciting. Whether it's a work thing or maybe an event you're going to, you know, these are all things that really can help us step into that highest timeline and continue there. I received a download for the Lionsgate, and it was interesting. It was a person walking. I didn't see a gender, on two lit up with golden crater substance figure eights or infinity signs, however you want to see it. If you take someone's foot, the 8 would go, one curve around the toes and one curve around the heel. And they were constantly moving. So you're not looping in place, but the movement is there within you and for you to move forward with. Okay. So you're going forward with infinite knowledge, abundance, and light. That's the message for this one. No matter what you do, the energy within you is in constant flow. So that's what this Lionsgate is reminding us of, that we've got that flow going all the time. Okay, this thing is going to pull us, and holy heck, why did that person just act like that, right? Or why did this other thing happen? It doesn't take you out of the fact that you're going to keep flowing in a way that's aligning for you and serving you. So you can have, this is another, I could add on another theme, but two things can happen at once. And we're going to have to sit with that, right? Like I'm a light being, but I'm having a dark experience, right? And that's okay. And we have those. And I think allowing ourselves to experience that. I'm going to do a Lionsgate sound transmission. So stay tuned for that. That will be offered online and in person here at the Sound Sanctuary in Reno, Nevada. So if you are in this area, I would love to have you. And if not, you can join online. Lastly, in that trio of frequencies and planetary energy, the 12th of August, we have the total solar eclipse. And the last time we had a total solar eclipse was on the 8th of April, 2024, my birthday. And I remember that day I took myself to the hot springs, and I think I was there for a couple nights, and it was kind of weird. It was a different kind of trip. I met some men, a couple that had been coming to this hot springs for forever. It was my first time there. And so they gave me a bunch of history about the place, which is cool. Like history. So they were talking a lot about that, and had a lot of fun conversations. So that was kind of cool. You are going to be able to see the eclipse in its totality in Greenland, Iceland, Spain, and Portugal. I believe in North America we will be able to see partial, but we're not going to see a total. So during the day, these are just kind of some fun little things. The moon completely obscures when it goes to the totality, the sun, revealing the solar corona. And if you've not seen one, it's so cool, right? It's so cool. Not at night, there will be a percent meteor shower with 100 meteors per hour. And these are going to be best viewed after midnight. So kind of cool to check all that out. I believe that meteor shower will be able to be seen in North America too. So yeah, that will be a nice addition to like round out this energy, right? This August energy. Um, it's a new moon in Leo. So we have Leo energy still. This eclipse in Leo is about letting go of needing outward validation. And so that includes like excessive performance, excessive posting, right? It's not about that. We need to let go of needing that in order to feel valid as a human, as a business, as whatever it is. I really like that. Like I said, I already started embracing that at the beginning of the year, in ways, and here I actually started doing the podcast in video, which you guys know I've been talking about for forever. It's still hard for me, in a lot of ways. But it was something I knew I wanted to do, but I'm being very, cautious, and also having a lot of grace with all the pieces, parts, and asking for a lot of help. Thank you. um, so those three are happening. To round out the cosmos, I talked about Lughnasadh, the pagan holiday, that you could celebrate the 1st or the 2nd of August, and that's celebrating the first harvest. So literally the harvesting of wheat, right? But if you don't have a farm, I do not have a farm. What are you harvesting that you have been working on? And celebrate. Maybe you make bread. Maybe you make something else that includes some kind of grain. Using your hands. So crafting a wreath or something else that you do. Maybe you do beadwork. And also this, because it's a harvest, it's about abundance. And so maybe you gift something to somebody that needs it, right? That's another way to be in ritual with Lughnasadh. And Lughnasadh is the Gaelic name for this holiday. It's also referred to as Lammas, but that's a Christian term for it. I prefer the Gaelic. That is my main heritage this lifetime, and how I took myself through my year and a day high priestess training with the Gaelic and the fairy, and the Fae. So that just makes more sense for me to call it Lughnasadh instead of Lammas. So have a blessed Lughnasadh, and hope you reap all the blessings that this time of year brings of abundance for you. All right, let's get to your akashic messages for August. So an image of golden creator substance, that beautiful light, right, that we think of Hierome or angelic or God, burst so bright. So it's like this big burst of light, and it comes, like it starts to fade away, or an image, comes through. And the first image is a dragon's head, and it's red and electric, like it's charged, right? This dragon's head is charged. Then, and this is all happening, like, right? Excuse me, my allergies are a little acting up today. Then it switches to a phoenix, rising and ascending. And then it switches to a rooster's head. And it flips through all three multiple times. So dragon, phoenix, rooster. Dragon, phoenix, rooster. Here we got another three again, right? Triad. So the meaning you're going to, with lots of meanings, we'll go through the different meanings of these beings, but an overall meaning is you're going to flit through these different frequencies, being strong and nurturing, transforming and transmuting, and then trying to get grounded in the here and now, in the present. One of the things that rooster symbolizes is vigilance and the triumph of light over dark. And we saw that happening with the shutdown of CERN. And it's told that, or a lot of folks have said that CERN was asked to be shut down by the White Hats, which is a governing entity for good, right? So what's for the good for humanity, as opposed to like the shadow government, which is not great. Is not great for humanity. So let's break down dragon, phoenix, and rooster a little bit more. So dragon has the energy of power and imperial authority, right? So regal, like think about where they are. They're high above, right? Flying high above. And the idea of transformation with dragon energy asks us to step into having the utmost respect for the process and taking time to prepare what we need for each step of the way. Because when we do that, we get in this genuine commitment space and we show up, right? We show up exactly the way we need to do. The phoenix represents rebirth and renewal. And with the phoenix, right? The phoenix takes itself into the fire to be brought down to ashes to rise back up, right? So it's saying, yeah, no, I'm going to do this. I'm taking responsibility for whatever's going on or whatever needs to happen. And I'm going to trial by fire to shed what no longer serves. Right here, we got that fire theme too. We got the dragon, which breathes fire, and the phoenix that puts itself into the fire, right? And with that energy of, no, I'm going to step into this space of transmuting everything, then we have this sense of surrender, and it's so conscious for us, right? We're so able to go, well, wait a minute. I know every part of this. I'm not just like, all right, fine. No, it's like, no, I really want this change. I really want to step into this change. Rooster, some of the main things the rooster energy embodies is awakening, courage, and vigilance, inner truth, seizing opportunities, and asserting oneself, right? Rooster kind of walks very proud, right? Roosters are also known as protectors and warding off evil and alerting others to danger. I mean, haha, it makes noise. Light, truth, and unyielding spirit of the moment. So with all three, there's themes too, like courage. All three, it takes courage. I have interacted with dragon energy is feeling very protective for me. And they're all mustering up strength from within for the solo journey, right? The phoenix takes itself into the fire on its own volition. And the dragon is a lot of times on its own doing its thing, right? Sometimes pushed aside because it's misunderstood. And then the rooster, waking up every morning with his sound. And nobody, there's not like any other being that's there with him. He's like, I'm doing it on my own, right? So it's about that solo journey. How are we lighting up that fire within ourselves? All right. To create the realities that we want. And we have to be the example. We have to be the example. That's just how it's going to have to work. I know that's not super comfortable for every person. So celebrate the small steps. Celebrate the small wins or the small changes that you notice within yourself. They're huge. Okay? These are huge. And it's setting up everything you need for that higher timeline. Okay? Because that's what we want. We want to step into that higher timeline so that we can thrive and we can experience and express authentic parts of ourselves that I think have been pushed down for a really long time. They've been pushed aside, masked, or told you're being too much, or you're being too sensitive, or you're being too this or that. You're not. You being you is exactly what you're supposed to be doing. There's no other way. And we're finding that we need to be our authentic selves everywhere, right? So important. Well, thank you so much for joining me for your Akashic messages for August of 2026. We got the theme of 3 coming in. Let me know. Please let me know if you've noticed themes of 3 happening for you. Please share. Love to hear about it. And where is your attention going? And know that's your currency. That's huge, right? Where's your attention going? And know that it's your currency. Keep setting your boundaries. This is how we're teaching each other, okay? What we need and what's okay and what's acceptable. So keep stepping into that. And I just heard, it's almost like you won't have any other choice because you want to be well, or you want to not feel anxiety, or you want to have this different experience than you've been having that maybe hasn't been serving. So think about that in that way. If you like a reading with me, you can reach me at ancientbodyworks.com. I've got a Facebook group called The Infinite Dance. I'd love to have you there. We share memes and all kinds of stuff there. I am on Substack. So if you do like longer content, I do go into more written content there. And the guideship program, you're always welcome to join that. That is where we get into dimensions and archangels and frequencies and um, discarnate souls and spells and curses and protocols around all of that. So if you've been receiving information, you're like, what do I do with all this information that's been coming in? The Guide to Program is for you. It really helps to give you a map and a guideline of how to interpret everything that's coming in, and great questions to ask. Always ask questions, right? More questions, the better. They really, really help us. So before we close out, I'm just going to do a little sistrum sound for you to clear the energies and send you off for this beautiful month of August with clarity and light and sovereignty. Okay? You got it. So go ahead and take a deep breath in. Deep breath in through your nose. And then we're going to go ahead and release that breath through your mouth. And let's do 2 more, just like that. Breathing in through your nose, guiding it into your lower abdominals. Puff up that belly and release. And 1 more deep breath in through the nose. Puff that belly up. And exhale and let it all go. You can keep your eyes open or closed. My head forward. Isn't it beautiful, sister? I hope that helped to bring some clarity and some light and feeling of strength, so you know that you can be free to do all that you need to do. So continue to peel back the layers of your amazing being and continue to ask yourselves and each other, may I have this dance? Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great rest of your day or night, and I look forward to sharing space with you again.